and then hopefully people will jump on as we get going, or they can always catch the recording. So what we're going to talk about today is calendars, kind of setting up a calendar so that you aren't going crazy all the time. I feel like a big part of this business that can really easily get out of control is that you feel like you are chasing your tail in a circle 99% of the time, because you're constantly playing catch up, whether it's that, oh my God, it's 9 o'clock and I don't have a post prepared, or it's, oh my God, it's Friday and I was supposed to post about inviting to a challenge group on Monday and I forgot. And you can very easily feel overwhelmed if you don't establish a calendar and a strategy and a concept to what you're doing in order to reach your goals. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months will fly by and you will feel like you were busy, but you didn't accomplish anything. So that's really what we want to break apart today. We're going to fly through it so we have time for questions at the end, maybe things that you've struggled with or things that you've had success with. We're going to kind of keep it vague and kind of a blanket concept of what we like to do and what we have found to work for us over the last almost 2 years. And hopefully it's something you can start implementing into your business to help you feel like you are ahead of the game instead of always right behind it. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this, is I don't want you to feel like you're constantly behind. I know that's something that Raquel and I struggled with a lot. Sometimes we still do. We have to get ourselves back in check and refocus on what we're doing, because it's frustrating and it's hard and it makes you not want to keep going. And so you have to get smarter and you have to work smarter so that you don't burn out and you don't do it over nonsense like social media, or I didn't prepare, or I didn't plan, or whatever it might be. I'm also going to do Laura's portion. You won't see her on the phone call. She's not feeling so hot, but I will cover for her. I know I look exactly like her in the spitting image, so I'll be coming back at the tail end. Okay, so let's just jump right in. So establishing a calendar is your first primary focus, but how do you do that? You can't just come out of nowhere with a calendar. Sometimes we just kind of start throwing things out there, but you have to have constantly the end in mind. What is it that you want to accomplish? Not what we want to accomplish, not what your downline or your upline wants to accomplish, but what are your personal goals? So you want to set your goals. Of course, you have long-term goals. You have your vision board. If you haven't created it, make sure you have it. But short term, you want to think in 90-day blocks. I like to work in quarters. It works nice with the year. But you want to have goals that are 90-day blocks so that they're big enough to give you time to achieve them. But 90 days goes by in a blink. So you have to really sit down and think, what do I want to accomplish? And then you're going to set your calendar to outline those 90 days. Because if you wait and you do it if you wait till October 1st to start your October calendar, you're already behind. And then you're already starting to feel flustered and you miss so many opportunities. So your calendar outline needs to be 90 days out so that you can well prepare yourself for what you need to accomplish. And then 30 days out, make sure that outline gets very detailed. And we'll talk about that as we go. So first thing first, setting your 90-day goals. When you set goals for 90 days, sometimes it's hard to know where to start. So these are the things that you should be looking at. What do you want to hit Success Club-wise? Are you shooting for Success Club 5? Are you shooting for Success Club 10? Maybe your 90-day goal is to get 20 coaches signed up. Well, if you aren't hitting Success Club 10, getting 20 coaches signed up probably aren't going to come together very nicely. So you've got to be thinking, these things have to go together. They have to be realistic. If I have big goals over here, I'm going to have to make big goals over here. If I want 20 coaches, how many invites does that mean that I need to be sending out? So you're starting to work smarter instead of just throwing goals out and then being disappointed when maybe they don't come to fruition. But if you didn't set yourself up and strategize on how to get to those super specific goals, you can't be disappointed when you don't achieve them. So this is kind of to help make sure that we set ourselves up to be successful and to work as smart as possible. So how many new coaches are you looking to add to your team in a 90-day period? How many new challengers do you want to pull on? Of course, we always leave room for repeat challengers, but you want to be adding on additional new challengers as well. What's that number for you that you feel like is going to get you success? And you know that a lot of your coaches come from challengers. So if you want to get 5 new coaches in 90 days, You know, how many challengers are you going to want to get so that you know 100% you're going to get 5 coaches? Maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20 over a 90-day period, because you know out of those 15 or 20 challengers, you're going to get 5 coaches because you're going to work with them and you've got a plan and you've got a strategy. So just kind of putting things in that perspective and kind of backing it up mind-wise. Rank and ladder goals. So you should always be shooting for the next thing, whether it's the next rank, or the next ladder rung on the leadership ladder. You've got to constantly have something ahead of you. So if you've just achieved a rank, if you just hit emerald, or you just hit diamond, or you just hit ruby, you have to, boom, let's go. What's next? How do I get to that next step? And how am I driving forward to get there? Because if not, you're going to quickly lose ground. If you just got to emerald and you're like, whew, I get to take a little break-see, you're going to lose emerald before you ever get to celebrate it. So you have to celebrate it, but whatever behaviors you did to get there, you have to keep doing them every single day so that you can constantly be progressing forward. The leadership ladder is the best way to grow your income. If you follow that leadership ladder, you'll be able to track that income as it goes up. It's a really great resource, and we have other information on it. If it kind of sounds a little vague to you, dive into just the leadership ladder portion. But rank and leadership goals, got to have those set. And then your business time for that 90-day period. So of course your life has ebbs and flows. Sometimes, you know, maybe it's summertime and you don't have much time to spend on your business. Maybe it's fall and your kids are in sports and this is their busy season and you know you're going to have to back off a bit. But you know come spring, you've got a block of time where you get to really surge forward and you get to push. Whatever your lifestyle is, that's the beauty of this business, that it works around you. I know for me, right before I had Nolan, we had our 90-day push goal, and I pushed like a maniac because I knew that having a newborn and a toddler was going to rock the boat, because I have another full-time job, and I have this job, and I have 2 babies, and none of which required or allowed me to have maternity leave where I could just like shut down and not work at all. So I knew that I was going to have to surge 90 days prior to having Nolan so that I could do kind of maintenance. I could just keep myself going, continue hitting Success Club, continue bringing on people, but not in the quantity that I was doing before, so that I could have that time to get my feet back on the ground, but not lose traction in my business. So whatever those times are for you in your business, in your life, plan for it. Know what you're doing and don't make excuses. If you know that this is your 90-day surge and you know that you have to buckle down during this 90 days, buckle down. If you know that this is a 90 days where you really need to focus on something else, maybe it's your busy season at your other job or busy season at home, then allow yourself to do so, but hit the things you know you need to hit to keep moving forward. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Okay, moving on. Setting your 90-day outline. So once you have your goals, you know where you want to get in 90 days. Now you have to start to backtrack to get to how do you actually put into practice the behaviors that are going to get you there. So looking at your calendar, your skeleton, you always look at what are you going to be running. So for your 90-day period, you're going to need to put some free groups or it doesn't have to be a free group. It can be anything that you want, but something that's going to drive new prospects, something that's going to pull in some new traffic between your fingertips that can generate some great conversations and lead into challengers and coaching. So something that's going to pull people in. Your challenge groups. How many are you running? Depending on what your 90-day block is looking like, maybe you're running 2 groups a month. Maybe you're running 1 group a month. Totally up to you, but know that because you want to space them out to where they line up. As you know, in TeamVIP, Raquel and I run groups for the entire team. We run 2 groups so that you constantly have something to invite to. But if you'll notice, we always stack our groups so that the last day of one group can start over on day 1 of the next group. For instance, we have a group that is on day 21 today, and we have a group that's starting day 1 tomorrow. So that if we have those repeat challengers, they can roll through challenge groups seamlessly. If you have your groups and you haven't planned out for them to interject each other, it can be kind of chaotic and you have challengers all over the place and it makes you stressed out. But if your groups line up and one ends and one starts, even if you have 2 groups, you constantly have them going together, and it helps you keep your sanity, and it also helps your repeat challengers have a good experience. Other things you want to put on your 90-day outline is team trainings. So of course this is TeamVIP. We have phone calls every Sunday evening, and we love to see your shining faces. But this is your team too. So whether this is you scheduling time with your upline, so maybe you want to reach out to your upline and you want to request to have a meeting once a week every Tuesday at 10 a.m. because it works for the both of you. Cool. Get it on your calendar, because again, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months go by and you haven't had a Zoom call with your upline and you don't know how long, and you're just feeling drained and unmotivated. So get ahead of the game, schedule that. Same thing, reach down to your downline, see what they need help with. Maybe you need to do a mini training within just your downline. Maybe you only have a downline of 2 or 3 people. It doesn't matter. Get together, chat, figure out what's going on, how you can help each other grow. Maybe your success partner, you want to team up with your success partner and do some smaller trainings with some other coaches. Plan that. Figure out what you struggle with. Figure out where you want to see the most traction in your business during those 90 days and plan team trainings. Get them on the calendar before those 90 days start so that when you get in it and it's busy, it's already on the books. And then business invites. Obviously, you can't add to your team if you're not talking about the business. So whether you do a live event or a live call or a sneak peek, or you jump in with our calls that we do and we offer, make sure that you have at least one per month that's public and open, that you can get new eyes on and you can get people interested in joining your team and seeing what it's all about. Okay? Okay, I know I'm blowing through this, but I want to be able to have question time at the end. Okay, so then you've gone from your 90-day goals to your 90-day outline. So let's say this is your first 30-day detail example. So when you do your detail example, you want to be looking at what you have planned. So when is your prep week for your challenge group? As you look down, then you've got, this is when your challenge group starts. So you've got your day 1. You have a new coach boot camp after. So and again, you don't have to follow this design. This is kind of the design that we have set up, but there's a method behind the madness. So let's say you have somebody who wants to be a coach. They've signed up to do their first challenge group. They're in their first challenge group week 1. So they have had time to go through their new coach emails. They have had time to kind of get their feet wet in the challenge group. And then they jump in and they start new coach boot camp. And so they've already had time to process a lot of information so that it's not too many things at once. We have tried before starting new coach boot camp the same week that a challenge group would start, and it's just too much all at once. The information overload is just out of control. So we have really tried to work and kind of fine tune our calendar so that nothing gets too overwhelmed. Everything has its place and it kind of makes sense on a 4-week system. So then looking at, that's your new coach boot camp. And then the following week, the 4th week of the month, we try to do a business opportunity event, live call, etc. So again, that's placed there intentionally because let's say you've got challengers that started this challenge here on day 1. They're 2 weeks into the challenge, 3 weeks underneath you as a coach because of prep week, and they're starting to love it. So you have the opportunity to then invite them to learn about the business opportunity when they're in their last week of their challenge. So they're feeling good, they've put in those habits, they're about to end their very first challenge group, and so they're approaching that time of what comes next. And then boom, here's this amazing opportunity that if they're ready for it, it lines up perfectly time-wise. And so we run this 4-week kind of block, and we'll repeat it. Again, we run 2 challenge groups a month. I didn't put that one in here because I don't want it to be confusing. And unless you have been in it for a while, I don't recommend running 2 a month just because you probably don't need to. However, it doesn't matter when you start. So let's say you like to start your first day of the challenge group the 4th week of the month. That's totally fine. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that it spaces up with when are your business opportunities. Does it make sense? Does it have an ebb and a flow so that you don't feel like you're going crazy? And then you'll back up from those events to see, okay, so if my business opportunity live event call is here, I need to start inviting to that at least 2 weeks prior. So for instance, we have a business opportunity call this Thursday. If you haven't already invited to it, don't stress. Invite until Thursday. You have plenty of time. But you should start inviting 2 weeks before the event, because how many times do you have to follow up with people before they respond to your message? Or how many times do you have to hit somebody up again because they forgot or something happened or you just haven't had enough traction? You may have to put out 1, 2, 3 public invites to get some good traction. If you just put one public invite for whatever you're doing, there's a good chance not very many people are going to see it, and you're not going to have much success. But if you plan ahead and you know, I've got this business opportunity event on the 28th, and you start inviting for it on the 7th, and you put out 3 public invites, and over the course of 3 weeks, you send out 50 personal invites, your success rate is going to be 1,000 times better than if you wait till the Monday of the event, put out 1 public invite, shoot out 10 personal invites because you're doing power of 3s. You know, it's just a numbers. That's just numbers. If you give yourself enough time to be successful, you will be. So this is just all about planning and preparing so that you have a calmness in your business, a confidence in your business, and you can make yourself successful. So this is an example of a detailed calendar, but of course, build it and make it towards your own. Now I'm going to let Raquel kind of talk about how to take it from, okay, now I see what each week looks like. How do I break down those weeks to make them productive?
Okay, so Jessica just broke that down. We can just keep it here because I'm just basically going to talk. But as you can see how she has Prep Week Challenge, New Coach Bootcamp, and Biz Up event. So what I like to do if, for instance, if we're looking at challenge start, so that second week, I put a little note in my phone as a reminder that says, invite to challenge group this week. Because I found again that I was looking at my calendar and it was Thursday and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a challenge group that's starting and I haven't invited to it, and it would completely stress me out. So again, always working backwards and setting reminders and your phone or whatever, if you're a pen and paper person, that works great too. So I know that if I have a challenge group starting in a week or 2 weeks or however, that whole week, I'm basically only going to be inviting to the challenge group. Sure, absolutely. If there's somebody who I think would be an amazing coach, I will definitely invite them. But majority of my messages that are going out that week are straight up to join a challenge group. So just the, hey girl, I didn't know if you've seen, but I made a post. I'm an online health and fitness coach. I'm super excited. I have a group that's starting in a couple weeks. We actually start prep week on Monday. I would love to give you more info if you're interested. We have a ton of examples of how to invite for that. So if you're just not sure what to say, I know that when Jessica and I started, we had no idea what it meant to invite. I literally had no idea what that meant. So we have a plethora of resources of messages you can send people of how to personally invite. Voice memos work great as well, so they can hear your excitement. If it's a Facebook memo, again, that can be kind of tricky, so I would practice with it because once you go, it's kind of like out there in the universe. I think you can pull it back, but it's a little bit harder. But sometimes it's really great to hear excitement. Hey, I'm super excited. You can talk about something that you've seen on their news feed. I saw that you celebrated your daughter's first birthday. That is so exciting. Talk about your family, your life, and just say, hey, and I was thinking of you. You popped up. I have a group coming up that I think you would be awesome in. I would love to give you more info or connect with you, maybe set up a phone call to talk more about it. So again, be thinking specifically daily what actions you need to take for that. Same thing, we have a business opportunity event this Thursday, which means last week and this coming week, I am going to be following up with my challengers who I think would be amazing coaches, with other people that I've seen in my newsfeed that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to work with them. They'd be rockin' awesome coaches. That's mainly what my invites are going to look like this week, is inviting to that business opportunity. I believe we have it in TeamVIP, but if not, we will repost that link of what you can invite them to. So and letting them know, hey, there's this link I'd love for you to join. No obligation. You can just join from your computer. You can see all the information just to see if it'd be a good fit for you. So that's something that you should be doing daily as well. Let's see what else Laura's going to talk about that. Anything else, Jessica, on specific daily? I really think what Jessica touched on is key. It's a numbers game. And so the more people you speak to, the more likely you're going to get a yes. So sometimes that means I have to talk to 100 people. I have to get 100 people in order to get 3 yeses. And that's okay, because I realize that, if I only talk to 10 people and I get 10 no's, it can feel defeating. But I also know I just haven't talked to enough people, and that's okay. I'll be completely 100% honest with you. I'm sitting at -2 Success Club points. today? -2. I actually had somebody return a challenge pack. So if that's ever happened to you and you're like, oh my gosh, they returned a challenge pack. Yes, it hurts my heart a little bit. But I also know that person just wasn't ready to commit. And I did everything I could to be a good coach to them. And that's okay. But now I'm sitting at negative. But I'm telling you right now, what's today? September 18th. I will hit Success Club by the end of the month. That just means I need to talk to so many more people than I've already been talking to. So I know this week I'm just going to be talking to as many people as possible. So just kind of be transparent with you that sometimes you think, oh, they've had a great success. You know what? We're in the trenches with you, and we are messaging people. We are creating those relationships. We are following up. We're reaching out to people every single day in order to hit our goals. Any questions on the daily what to do? Again, if you're not sure what to do, that's where we can really help you with the day-to-day, how to handle this business, how to invite. No? Okay, I'll turn back over to Jessica then.
Okay, so with breaking it down, so you broke it down, so your little map, you've got your 90-day goals, you've broken down your 90-day outline, and then you go back and you fill your 30 days. Now here's my piece of advice as well. Make sure that you're about 2 weeks ahead of the month. So for like October, for instance, if you haven't made your October calendar, get on it. Put it in your schedule. And again, if you follow TeamVIP, like if you follow Raquel and I's calendar, that is perfect. It works wonderfully. You know we're on the same system. You know we always do the 4th week of the month. You know we always start our challenge groups the same time of the month. We're going to do a better job of making sure we post it at the beginning of the 4th week just so you have it because we have them made so that they're done. But 2 weeks before the month starts, you want your calendar filled out, detailed. So what days things are happening, what you're inviting to when, so that there's no stress. Because again, if you try to start on the 1st, it's very overwhelming. And if you're like Raquel and she's going to be in hustle mode for that very end of the month, you don't want to get to the 1st of October and be like, oh, thank the Lord, that is over. And then it's the 15th of October and you're doing it again. You know, like it, and that doesn't always happen. By October 2nd, she's going to be at Success Club 20 because that's just how it works out. Some months you're sweating all the way to the end, and then other months it's like, I'm sorry, how did that happen? What happened here? I didn't invite anyone, and they all came out of the woodworks. And that's just how it goes. But you have to prepare. If not, you will get on the hamster wheel of every month. You like look up and it's the 20th, and oh, I don't have any points, but I also haven't invited. So weird. So prepare yourself for success. 2 weeks before the month start, your calendar is done. And then on your daily, pick a checklist, whatever works for you. Obviously, we have been doing this Power of Threes in Destination Diamond, but we have so many checklist options, it's ridiculous in the Teams VIP file section. So you can use whatever you want. I use a checklist that looks like this. Okay, it's kind of probably a little bit more overwhelming. There's a lot of boxes going on. Ginny Bobo made one, and I kind of made it into my own. I know you can't see it, but I'll tell you kind of what's on there. I mix everything in here. So I have, and I know Lisa does a little bit of this too, but I have, that I spent time doing my other job, my full-time job that I have. I spent time I'm trying to do a daily household chore so that I don't have to clean all one day because I'm a neat freak, and I understand that with 2 kids I shouldn't be, but I just can't help it. So trying to make my mind go straight, I have all these things on my checklist, and that's inviting, engaging, all of those things. And the people that I talk to and follow up with are all down here, my Success Club points and all that. I like to see things a month at a time because that's just how my brain operates. I like to see a big chunk of time, but whatever checklist works for you, use a checklist.
Let me just show you this one real quick. I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. For those that are not in our Destination Diamond, here's what we've been looking at. So again, it's all about consistency over time, adding 3 people to your network, connecting, just messaging, saying, hey, what's up? Haven't talked to you in a while. How are you doing? Inviting 3 people to join your next challenge group, following up with people that you may be connected with or invited and haven't heard back, posting on social media. Again, social media is our outlet and extension of us and our brand. And then at least a minimum of 3 times per week, you're presenting the business opportunity, meaning you're inviting somebody to get on a phone call with you, getting on a 3-way call with your upline, sending them a video about what it is that we do as coaches at least 3 times a week. And then daily, making sure you're connecting into that personal development. If you need help with that, we're always here to help. working out, and Shakeology, basically being a product of the product, because we can't say how great this stuff is if we're not currently using it ourselves. Weekly, listening to the National Wake Up Call. I listen to the podcast. I never get to listen to it live. I listen to the podcast at some point during the week about it. Checking in with my coaches, checking in with my customers, and then monthly making sure we achieve Success Club, hopefully adding at least one new coach to our business. It can be a discount coach, it can be a business builder, doesn't matter. And then we want to be shooting to add at least 5 people to listen into our business opportunity call, event, whatever we're doing. We want to make sure we're at least getting 5 people ears on what it is that we're doing. So again, this is a weekly snapshot. And then Jessica said she has a monthly. You can track however you want. We give you a ton of options. We probably overwhelm you with how many options we have. But figure out what works for you. As long as you're tracking, you're good to go. Okay?
Yes. Okay, lastly, setting yourself up for success throughout the week, because that tends to be when we get the most busy. So you have your big outline, your small outline, so that it's very structured. And I know it sounds like a lot, like you're having to do so many things, but it just really is repeat. Once you find a schedule that fits you and works for you, then you just get in the grind and you just go month after month. But from week to week, that's when the chaos sets in, and that's when you've got all these wonderful intentions set out. But if you are not structured in how you put it together, the week will blow by and you'll just say, oh, I was really busy, or oh, this happened, or oh, that happened. And that's when excuses can start to get in the way, and it really puts you behind and gets you frustrated. So here's what I always recommend. Before you start your day, you can either do it at night before you go to bed or first thing in the morning when you wake up, depending on your personality. Set 3 things that have to happen no matter what for that day. So no matter what it is, doesn't matter if there's a hurricane, these 3 things will happen. And so sometimes those 3 things for me are, I need to send a positive message to all of my challenge group members, or I need to do a check-in with all of my coaches about something, whatever happens to be important for that week. That might be one of those 3 things that have to happen. Maybe one of those 3 things is that I have to finish a template for a challenge group. Something that's not on my daily checklist, not inviting, not engaging. Those things should be happening on your checklist every day. But 3 gotta happen no matter what. Maybe it's that you create an invite on Sunday because you're going to put out an invite on Monday, but your workday Monday is going to be crazy. So on Sunday, one of your 3 things that has to happen is that invite gets created, so that on Monday you don't have an excuse to not put it out. So whatever works for your schedule, but give yourself 3 things every day that have to happen. And then map it out this way as well. Each week you've got to be checking in with your challengers. You've got to be checking in with your team, whether it's your upline or downline. Just get in the habit of checking with your team. Get in the habit of checking with old customers and challengers, whether or not they continue in your challenge groups, whether or not they continue on the products. Stay in touch with people. And maybe you do these things this is something Raquel and I are starting to implement with ourselves, because we're getting so many people and we want to make sure that everybody gets attention. Maybe Mondays is your day to check in with your team. Maybe Tuesdays is when you really focus on your challengers. Wednesdays, you go and you speak with past customers, or you send little happy messages about whatever random stuff to people. Maybe itemizing by day what you're focusing on works for your brain. Just break it down so that before your week starts, you give yourself something that's realistic. If you only have 1 hour to work on Monday, don't plan yourself to do 3 hours of work with Beachbody, because then when you don't accomplish it, you feel beat down and overwhelmed. But if you have all these things that need to happen this week, but you've got this chunk of time on Sunday, buckle down, get it done, and feel amazing all week long. That's really the purpose of the call, is just to be smart about your personal schedule, get done what you want to accomplish, but know your limitations so that you can get it done in the time frame that you can get it done in. Good? Okay. Questions that you guys have, or things that you've tried or have worked, or anything that you'd like to throw out there? Was this helpful in any way? Okay. Well, you are with me. I do see some heads moving.
That was a lot of information in 29 minutes.
Thank you. 1 minute done fast. Thank you. I know I talk a mile a minute. Yes, go Lisa.
When it comes to like the trackers and stuff, because this is me. I'm just speaking from my experience. I felt like I've found a tracker and I'm like, I'm going to stick to this. It's going to be amazing. And it just doesn't work for me. And then I feel bad because it's not working for me. But rather than feeling bad that it's not working for you, find something else that works for you. Find your personality. So one of the best examples that I can give is I buy a calendar from Walmart or something, and it's the weekly calendar. So it has the month and then it has the week. So I'm like, yeah, totally going to keep up with this. I like write all my things in the months, and then I write it in the weeks. But then for some reason, I never keep up with my weeks. I only look at the months. So I've learned, it took me 27 years to learn this, that I just need to stick to the month calendars. Just like Jessica, she has that whole full month calendar. I feel like when I have the checklist looking at just the week, for some reason my brain hates that and it's like not enough. So I want to look at the whole big picture. So that's why I'm working with a 1 month like checklist type calendar rather than writing names. I think writing names stresses me out too, because penmanship freaks me out, because like I want everything to be pretty. So like when I write names and it looks pretty, I'm like, I need whiteout. So anyway, I'm learning. It's just, so long story short, just find what works for you. And it's okay if you have to try 700 different things. Just keep trying. You'll eventually figure it out.
Penmanship freaks me out. Hashtag. Anything else before we wrap it up, or anything that you felt like maybe something that was helpful that we talked about that you're going to try to implement?
Nothing.
I think I'm going to say too is with the tracker, a lot of times what some of us do is like, if you know, like Saturday or Thursday you're going to go do something, or Saturday like you have a busy day, then like Thursday we'd be like, ooh, I'm going to double up and check off Saturday. So it's totally cool to do that. Again, power of 3. But don't make a mistake, because sometimes I'll like overwhelm myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, on Monday I have all the time, so I'll like do a lot and then not do it the rest of the days. So then I lose that consistency.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like, oh, I'm here, so might as well do 20 invites. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I should do that every single day. And then there's pressure. But we will say, definitely, if you know one day you're super busy and not going to get to it, that's the beauty of this business. You decide. So just double up a different day. So at least you know you've gotten your week's worth of invites and things done.
Yeah.
You know?
So
But I
good.
always, the biggest thing with that is make sure that you do double up before, not after, like Jen was saying, because that's a big thing, to being like, oh, I'm so tired. Tomorrow I'm totally going to double up. No, you're not.
Mm-mm.
The only way that game works is if you say, tomorrow I'm going to have a family day, so today I shall double up. But you can't backtrack, because it doesn't work that way. It just simply doesn't. And then it's like, man, tomorrow I have to send 500 invites. That is a lot, because I am so behind. So just don't go down that path. It's very catastrophic, and it's
Slippery slope.
Yes.
Or go ahead and try to go down that road and see what happens, because this is our warning to you. Try it. See what happens.
Don't
See how you
don't
feel.
listen to her. She's silly.
Okay, guys.
Pulling it up.
Just a reminder too, so we have that biz opportunity event on Thursday. We will post more information, so you can always invite to that. We'll be posting about what it is that we do as coaches, and then we also have a new coach boot camp starting tomorrow. I posted about that earlier in Team VIP. So if you are a new coach, or you're a coach who just feels like I need to hear the information or read the information or watch more of the videos again, you can always add yourself to the group. If you have a new coach, add yourself and your new coach so that you can just check in. Sometimes they're in so many groups. I know as a new coach, it's like I was never in a group until I became a coach, and now all of a sudden I'm like in 11 billion. So you might have to tag them and say, hey, Lisa, how are you doing? Don't know if you saw this post. And just checking in with your new coach too, because again, it's overwhelming in the beginning. So tell your coach, let them know. If you are a new coach on this call, Matthew, I'm looking at you, it can be a little overwhelming, right? It is. So just know that for the first 3 months, you're like, what the heck did I get myself into? But I promise once you get into a rhythm, it's a simple business. There's just a learning curve in the beginning. And of course, we're always here if you need help, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to go? Everybody happy? Okay. Have a wonderful evening, my friends.
Bye, guys.